Welcome once again to Four Wheels Good, the solution to your motoring addiction. On this week's show, we'll be cruising the streets in a longer than average luxury Mercedes, which, would you believe, is a production vehicle. We visit a school with a difference, one which teaches you the skills required to become the next Colin McRae. And John Wright will be getting handy with his spanners in Inside Motors. But first, we fly over to Norway for the last time as we catch up with the final instalment of Mark Nuttall's Norse Rally saga.
The last one in the series, which has followed me and 5 other rally drivers during a week at John Hogland's Winter Rally School in Norway. John Hogland was a works rally driver for Skoda for many years and was responsible for much of their giant-killing reputation. During the week, he'd been passing on his extensive knowledge of how to make a rally driver go quicker, where to gain the extra speed and time, and how to extract the most from the car. John had us driving around a course on a frozen lake for the early part of the week, using special spiked tyres on the ice. Pressing hard around the track using these tyres simulates the same handling of a car on a gravel stage. The lessons didn't finish when the driving did. In the evening, the theory of how to set your car up to help you drive quicker was tackled. John is also a very accomplished fireside storyteller.
He was thinking clicks straight away. No, I want 2 clicks here or 2 clicks off here, and he couldn't do it.
Whilst out in Norway, we met some top Norwegian rally drivers who were out practicing for the forthcoming Numedals rally. Our group was divided into 2. While some of us carried on practicing driving on the rally stage, the others had the opportunity to be navigator in a full Group A works car. After his little jaunt through the Norwegian forests, Gethin changed his clothes and told us how it went.
Okay, so here we are. We're at a stage that's going to be used for the Numedals rally on the weekend, and I've just had the pleasure of being out in a Subaru Impreza full Group A ex-Pro Drive Works car, which was absolutely brilliant. The speed of the car was very impressive, especially down the hill where it was pulling probably about 130 miles an hour, which is a bit quicker than we were going earlier. And the Peugeot was probably pulling about 85 miles an hour, so a bit quicker. Very good fun though.
These Group A cars are as different as chalk and cheese to our humble Group N cars. The difference between the 2 categories? Well, our Group N or showroom category cars are literally as they can be purchased from a showroom. The only modifications are safety equipment, suspension and exhaust. The Group A cars are allowed every modification: engine, gearbox, brakes, suspension, differential. The question really is how big your wallet is. This particular Escort is worth about £65,000 to £70,000. The spikes on these tyres are longer than the ones we were using. These are about 25mm, whereas the ones in ours were about 15mm. The reason? More power driving 4 wheels needs more grip. Top Norwegian rally ace Berger Gundersen showed us how it should be done. Then it was time to return home. Forming a convoy so as not to upset the local law enforcement with our spiked tyres on public roads, it was back to Rodberg. Then it was time to take off the spikes and replace the road tyres, load up the cars with gear and repair the cars where necessary.
When you've done that, Kev, I want you to twist the wheel, please, because I think that bearing's loose. So we won't say that too loud.
Admittedly, some of the repairs were get-me-home repairs, but they worked. Greg and Jay took charge. Meanwhile, I spoke to Claire Moran. Out of all of us, she was the one who'd had the most strenuous of weeks. I think looking at this rally in a different kind of way to how you're looking at it now, do you think you've benefited very, very much from coming here, or do you think it's put you off?
The early part of the week it put me off. I lost quite a lot of confidence. I think trying a new skill and a whole new technique of driving really for me, it didn't work straight away, and I found it very hard. But I got back in the car on a Wednesday and it sort of came together. We changed the tyres and made it a little bit easier for me to control, and I'm hoping. I was ready to almost give it up, thinking that I haven't got the talent and I wasn't capable. But I think when I get back, I'm going to carry on and see how I go.
On a sponsorship level, you were one of 3 ladies on this course, all of whom have got different budgets.
Yeah.
I think I'm right in saying that you were literally on a shoestring budget.
Definitely. The whole year is going to be very tight. That's an extra pressure as well, which perhaps I could do without, but it's a fact of life. So we have to get on with it, and I just try my hardest to get some sponsorship.
It's been good to have you here this week. I think we have had some good fun, and I hope you have learned something. We had a few small incidents, but not any big ones. And nothing like Kevin's last year. Well, a little bit we have, but not that bad. For the future, I hope you will remember this week. And I hope you are doing well in the future and doing good results and going somewhere in our sport. And I like to use you as references when you are going into work teams and maybe winning world championships. Okay. And also, it's the very best for us is that you are doing well after you have been here.
John's after-dinner speech signalled the end of an enjoyable but tough week, in which we'd all had a fantastic time and learned much more than could be learned spending the same amount of money in rally entry fees. As a part-time rally driver, I would say that this is the most beneficial amount of time and money I've ever spent in rallying. I was looking forward to the forthcoming season with relish.
Thanks, Mark, and we'll have more rallying later in the programme. Now, if you'd ever thought you'd like to travel in style with no effort and in your own car, then look no further. Yasmin Mills has been doing just that.
You may be thinking about buying the new Mercedes E-Class, or you may be after something a little bit different. You could be the first person on the block with one of these, if you can get it round the block, that is. But what do you think of this back end, boys? Come into my lair and find out. Think of a limousine, and you probably think of champagne-guzzling rock stars and rich businessmen being driven around by chauffeurs in luxury. But these days, you don't have to be Liam Gallagher, royal, or even on your way to a wedding to enjoy the luxuries of a chauffeur-driven limo. Until now, your average British driver would not think of buying a limousine when looking for a family car. But now, MJ Limousines of Surrey have come up with a production-built limousine, which makes it practically affordable. Traditionally, limousines were saloon cars individually converted by small companies at a very high cost. From around £50,000, this production Mercedes limousine is on the market for the price of a top-of-the-range saloon. Will we see limos nose to tail on the M1 on a Friday evening? Will it become a realistic alternative to a people mover for large families? Surely it's much more fun drawing up to the supermarket in a limo. Every week I come out of the supermarket and I can't find my car, but today is different. I'm not looking for my tinny hatchback, I'm looking for my limo. Now, baby parking, disabled parking, limo parking, just what I need. Should be able to fit everything in here for a change. No problem. I have to shop like this from now on.
We identified a marketplace that wasn't being fed by any other particular manufacturer with a prestigious car like Mercedes-Benz, and got into developing a vehicle with a company called Jankel in Weybridge, and asked the customers what they really wanted, and from there we went out, designed and built MJ limousines, or produced a company called MJ Limousines, and produced these limousines both in 4-door and 6-door version on the E-Class chassis from Mercedes-Benz.
Now, what makes this different from all the other limousines before it?
Well, traditionally limousines were hand-built. They were cut in half and a piece was welded into the roof and into the floor. This vehicle is actually built with a new one-piece pressed steel roof, which helps with the production of the vehicle. Not only that, but the rigidity of the vehicle, the strength of the vehicle, the overall longevity of the vehicle, in as much as sometimes with the hand-built vehicles you could see some sagging after a few years. This is impossible to happen with this vehicle.
And I understand before they were made individually, like commissioned one-off limousines, and this is a production vehicle.
That's quite right. In the past they were just one-off vehicles, and of course they were horrendously expensive because they were labour intense, there was so much labour involved in that. These are now built on a production line in Coventry with a full production team.
And apparently the bench seat, rather than a flimsy makeshift seat, there's a proper seat in this as well.
Yes, this vehicle comes in 2 variations. One is a 4-door, the one that we see here, and that's a conference style. The other one is a 6-door vehicle, and it has a bench seat in the middle, which is unique to our production of MJ limousines, which has seat belts integrally made, and with a simple twist of a lever can be rolled up and stowed away, or to giving you additional leg space.
And what about the price then? You mentioned that it was a lot more expensive previously to have a limousine made. What exactly is the difference between this price and the previous price?
Well, I really should say 2 things about the price of the vehicle. Firstly, with a 250 diesel version, it would start at something around £58,000 on the road, and then can be built up accordingly. We're offering them in 250 diesel, 300 turbo diesel and E280 versions. But where this vehicle really scores is because it's built on a production line. If you break a window, if the vehicle has an accident, these parts are available from the shelf from a Mercedes-Benz dealer or from us the next day delivery, whereas in the past you would have had to order, and sometimes the vehicle would have been off the road for as many as 12 weeks while a new window or a new door was made. Because it's a production vehicle, downtime on the vehicle is just minimal.
There's also the question of driving these large sausage dogs on wheels. The more affordable limo will not necessarily be driven by people with chauffeurs. It could be a nightmare to be stuck behind a nervous limousine driver trying to negotiate a roundabout or do a U-turn in the high street on a Saturday afternoon. I've already noticed an increasing number of limos in the West End of London on any given evening. So maybe now you'll be tempted to buy one of these, and you can pretend you're in America, where some limos are so big that the front end is registered in Texas and the back end is registered in Detroit.
Well, that's all for part 1, but join us again after the break when we'll be tearing around a forest at high speeds, and John Wright will be here with Inside Motors. Welcome back to part 2 of 4 Wheels Good. Now, we all think we're great drivers on the road, but hidden deep in the woods, there's a way of sorting the men from the boys. One of the most difficult forms of competitive driving is rallying, and if you've ever fancied seeing if you can cut the mustard, then watch on.
The Forest Experience Rally School in Carno, mid Wales, where I went to find out if I've got the stuff that rally drivers are made of. First, teacher Jan Churchill introduced the mysteries of rallying technique.
Mr. Mansell and his buddies do it that way, but we haven't got the luxury of grip they've got, so the back slides out. The more lock you apply, the more you check grip. If it's going sideways like that, you apply the opposite lock, but this hand at this point becomes an annoyance, so you let go.
After the theory, off to the woods, conveniently situated on top of a nearby mountain. And with fog and drizzle making for mud galore, the motor show crew took to a Land Cruiser to carry the cameras around what's an authentic rally course. And as Jan showed me the circuit, we passed a fellow pupil's authentic rally accident.
You see the problems?
Yeah.
I went round the bend, and instead of pulling the power off mid-bend, I just kept the power on and went back into normal sort of road driving mode, and I just went off. The back just hit a little bit of a lump there and kicked it back in again.
Then Jan spotted the crew and an opportunity to share the authentic rally mud. But the laughing stopped when it was my turn.
Ease off and brake. Brake. Don't, stay on the brakes, stay on the brakes, stay on the brakes. Easy. Let's just try driving round in a normal, sedate, sensible manner.
Right.
While you learn what the car feels like.
Okay.
Don't fall in the ditch. Easy. Get out of the ditch, easy. These ditches will suck the car in. Now, brake.
At first it seemed I couldn't do anything right. But at last it began to come together.
Smooth and flowing. Okay, the back just hit the slime and it let go. You've got to be a bit quicker to register that. That's lovely. Yeah. Woo-hoo! Good one. And the wheel hardly moved because you've got the throttle working.
It's harder than it looks. We're well above the cloud base, so conditions guarantee the major attraction.
Mud. mud, glorious mud. It's about, I think, primarily letting people fulfil an ambition. So most people have seen the RAC on the telly, thought, yeah, that looks fun. And they've sort of said that out loud, and somebody's thought, there's a good Christmas present, birthday present, anniversary present, etc. And so they get to come here because of that. A smaller percentage who say, yeah, I want to go rallying, so I ought to do this as a first step. Very small. Some who've done a bit of rallying. But basically, because we're in a forest, we can offer the genuine article. So it's an experience in the forest.
So we're going anti-clock. So braking, down through the gears, first gear, out to the right, pull.
A handbrake turn. Jan showed me the basics, but that meant 15 things to do at once.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he wanted them right first time.
So braking in second, good, and first, and off the foot brake. Okay, you tried to pull the handbrake on a little bit too soon, not having really given it the throw of the wheel. Then you tried to start using the power before you'd actually got any spin. So you need to feel a really quite pronounced amount of spin before you think about your throttle. So aim almost to the left of the cone for a while, then think out to the right as you're braking. That's good, out there now. And clutch. Okay, you're lucky you didn't stall the engine. Very nice handbrake turn. Good, much nicer.
To finish off the day, a timed run round the course. Phil Edwards from Blackwater went first, clocking in at 2 minutes 41 seconds. Then Robin Smith from Brighouse bettered that with a time of 2 minutes 40. Richard stayed on the road this time, but took 2 minutes 52. But then into the lead leapt Wales's Donna Williams with just 2 minutes 37.6 seconds. Now it was me.
3, 2, 1, go.
The adrenaline flowing, I tried desperately to remember what I'd learnt earlier in the day. With Donna in the lead and mine the last time stage, there had to be a woman winner by the end of the day. My final time? 2 minutes 40.6, putting me third behind Robin and Donna, who celebrated in style.
Push hard.
A terrific day, but will I make a rally champion?
You plainly haven't got the sort of enormous bulging talent that the few who get to the top are just born with, and it's so self-evident. So everybody else, all us normal mortals, have to work at it, you know, and you've done very well, no doubt.
Still a bit shattering at the end of an exciting day like that to be still a normal mortal.
Goodbye, ambitions.
Well, rallying is certainly not as easy as it looks, but if you can master it, then who knows where you could go. Now it's time to head over to see Dr. Spanners himself, John Wright, in Inside Motors.
Get this air cleaner back on now. Just sight that properly, get that bolt, and there was a vacuum pipe from round here. It's there. Just pop that in the right place. We'll get the air filter. And we'll stick that in. That's it. Fits easily in there. Just as a matter of comparison, I don't think I really need to do this, but just to labour the point, that's the difference between the two. I have a funny feeling the engine might run a little sweeter with a new air filter in. Oh. Tighten these screws up. And we'll do the clips up. Let's got this wheel off and see what we've got underneath. Right. Oh, I think we'll need a little bit of grease on those wheel nuts. Feel them squeaking now. I've just noticed a little bulge in the tyre as well. I think the owner of this car should be aware of. I'll point that out in a minute, just before I take it off. If you could just get the camera up to here, we can show you a little bulge in the tyre. Now what's probably happened is that it's been run into a curb during its life and it's causing a bulge in the tyre. Now that's actually quite dangerous and it could go at any time, and the one thing you don't want is a tyre explosion at any sort of speed at all.
Thanks there, John, and we'll see John again next week. Also on next week's programme, Richard Warren will be meeting with proud owners of vintage Aston Martins, and our American correspondent Steve Parker will be checking out the Las Vegas Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association Conference. So, see you then.